Hello. In this week's Torah portion, Noah. Noah and his family survived the floods in the ark full of animals. After the floods, God makes a covenant with Noah, a covenant binding on all mankind. God will never again flood the earth, but people must observe certain commandments. Quote, I establish my covenant with you and with your seed after you, for perpetual generations. You shall not eat flesh with its lifeblood in it. Whoever sheds man's blood, his blood shall be shed by man. For God made man in his image. I have set my bow in the clouds, and it shall be the token of a covenant between me and the earth. Unquote. The Talmud derives 7 laws that are applicable to all mankind. They are called the Noahide Laws. We read in Tractate Sanhedrin, quote, Our rabbis taught 7 precepts were the sons of Noah commanded, to establish courts of justice, and to refrain from blasphemy, idolatry, adultery, murder, stealing, and eating the flesh of live animals. Unquote. The Talmud then explains how these laws are derived. Curiously, the sages derived them from a single line in Genesis, quote, And the Lord God commanded the man, saying, Of every tree of the garden you may freely eat. Unquote. Here's how. Establish courts of justice is derived from and the Lord God commanded, because command relates to justice and judgment. No blasphemy is derived from the words the Lord, which are used in connection with blasphemy in Leviticus. Quote, And he who blasphemes the name of the Lord, he shall surely be put to death. Unquote. No idolatry is derived from the word gods, because the word God is used in that context in Exodus. Quote, You shall have no other gods before me. Unquote. No murder is derived from the man, because the word man is used in that context in Genesis. Quote, Whoever sheds man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed. No adultery is derived from the word saying, because it is used in that context in Jeremiah. Quote, They say, if a man puts away his wife, and she go from him, and became another man's, etc. Unquote. No stealing is derived from, Of every tree of the garden you may freely eat. Since it was necessary to authorize Adam to eat of the trees of the garden, it follows that without such authorization it was forbidden, since the trees did not belong to him. No eating flesh from live animals is derived from you may freely eat, which implies you may eat only what is ready for eating, which is not the case while the animal is alive. A commentator marveled that a verse giving permission to enjoy was interpreted as a series of prohibitions. This is a common theme in the Talmud. Freedom to enjoy is limited by ethical considerations, and only attains its value when so limited. The Mishnah says, quote, No man is free but he who labors in the Torah. Unquote. The question now arises. Jews have 613 commandments in the Torah, but Gentiles have only 7. Should Gentiles keep some of the other laws, such as eating kosher foods, observing Shabbat, honoring parents, affixing a mezuzah, refraining from certain mixtures, etc.? It's up to them. There is no merit or demerit if they do. There are, however, 2 notable exceptions. First, there are restrictions on Gentiles studying the Torah. The Talmud says, quote, Rabbi Yohanan said, a Gentile who studies the Torah deserves death. Hayav mitah in Aramaic. It must be noted that the verse deserves death, the phrase deserves death just expresses disapproval and is not to be taken literally. Certainly, no action is called for. The phrase is common in the Talmud. Another example is, quote, He who transgresses the words of the sages deserves death, unquote. Now, what is the Talmud's reasoning for forbidding Gentiles from studying Torah? It is written in Deuteronomy, Torah tzivalanu Moshe morasha kehilat Yaakov. Moses commanded us the Torah, the inheritance of the congregation of Jacob. The implication is understood to be, it is our inheritance and not theirs. In that case, the Talmud continues, why is this prohibition not included in the Noahide Laws? It is, the sages argued. If you take someone's inheritance, you steal it, and one Noahide law is not to steal. But objections were raised. Rabbi Meir went so far as to say, a Gentile who studies the Torah is like a high priest. We learn that from the verse in Leviticus, keep my statutes and my command and my judgments, for the man who obeys them will live by them. It does not say priest, Levite, or Israelites, but man. So we learn that even a Gentile who studies and observes the Torah is like a high priest. But another rabbi countered that Gentiles should study only the parts of the Torah that pertain to their own 7 Noahide laws, not the rest. Why this restriction? One can only speculate. Studying Torah yields knowledge that can be used against Jews, especially if it can be easily misinterpreted. For a long time, the Talmud was not translated for that reason. Also, we don't want others to take our rituals and twist their meaning, as Messianics sometimes do. Second, there are restrictions on Gentiles keeping Shabbat in full. The argument is that Shabbat is a sign between God and Jews only. In Exodus, we read the Veshamru, recited at every Shabbat. The children of Israel shall observe Shabbat to make Shabbat an eternal covenant for generations. It is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. The Talmud adds, Resh Lakish also said, a Gentile who keeps a day of rest deserves death. Ravina said, even if he rested on Monday. The Talmud asks again, if so, why is this prohibition not included in the 7 Noahide Laws? The sages replied that the Noahide Laws include only negative injunctions, and don't observe Shabbat means do work, which is a positive commandment. If so, then why is the positive commandment to establish social laws included in the Noahide Laws? The sages replied, it is both positive and negative. Positive in the sense of dispense justice, and negative in the sense of refrain from injustice. For this reason, candidates for conversion to Judaism are instructed to violate some rules of Shabbat privately as they practice observance. One possible concern was that early Christians observed Shabbat, and some current Messianic Jews also do it, and the rabbis did not want faithful Jews confused with them. The Rambam summed it up by saying, quote, the principle is that one may not make innovations in religion or create new commandments. Any Gentile has the opportunity to become a true convert to Judaism by accepting the whole law, unquote. So Judaism is a package deal, no picking some parts of it and rejecting the rest. Now, Gentiles are by no means disparaged in Judaism. A well-known principle is the righteous of all nations have a share in the world to come, unquote. The Mishnah says, do not hate any man, and do not discriminate against anything, for there is no man that does not have his hour, and there is no thing that does not have its place. A commentator wrote, I call heaven and earth as witnesses. Any individual, whether Gentile or Jew, man or woman, servant or maid, can bring the divine presence upon himself in accordance with his deeds, unquote. Consequently, Judaism also holds that no proselytizing among Gentiles is necessary. Judaism is not an upgrade. So, let us summarize. Jews must observe the 613 commandments in the Torah. Gentiles must observe the 7 Noahide laws. Gentiles may study Torah or observe Shabbats only partially. For all other commandments, it is up to them whether to observe them or not. Shabbat Shalom.